Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting for Bedford Township for November 14th, 2023. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could all remain standing, we'll do a moment of silence for Denny Steinman, who was a trustee for 28 years on this board and a volunteer fireman, and will be greatly missed by this community. Okay, if Pastor Steve Hobbins could open us up in prayer, I'd appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Let's pray. Father, I pray that you bless this meeting, and we thank you, Lord, that we, at a meeting like this, that we are intentionally taking time to ask for your help, seek your wisdom. I pray that you'd guide the decisions that are made here and help us to use wisdom and to make decisions that will please you, and please protect our community, Father. We ask this now in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, next up is item 2, approval of the agenda. I'd like to approve it with the polling 8E. I need to get a few more questions cleared up about the deed that came up.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda as amended.
Support. Okay, motion and supported by Mr. Bruning. Any discussion? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Janusek is absent. Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 6-0. Okay, item 3, the consent agenda. The agenda committee recommends to approve and place on file A, minutes from the October 17th, 2023 regular meeting of the Bedford Township Board. B, a resignation of Bradley Perriott from the Bedford Fire Department, effective immediately.
Motion to approve consent agenda submitted.
Support.
Okay, motion and supported. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 6-0. Item 5 is public comment. Comments limited to 5 minutes for board agenda items only. And just state the item you'll be speaking on.
Gail Kane, 1056 West Temperance. Well, I was prepared to speak to 8E because I'd like to see it sold. So as long as I've got some time on my hand, let's address 8D. I'm questioning Manikin Smith group fees. I thought we had talked and that there was discussion. When do we roll or get an opinion as to changing the engineers or changing to bidding them out for projects so that we can go looking? We have Manikin Smith with their hands rather deep into our pockets. I mean, they're on the DDA, they're on planning, and it just goes on. And Barry has retired, but he was at the DDA meeting. And then they do consulting for the road commission. So even with our building out here in the back for the maintenance people, we had a different engineer, but we called in Manikin Smith to do survey work. So I'm questioning if this is really fiscally the best option. I've talked with some other people, and I guess there used to be back in the day, and I'm not familiar with the actual process, that they would put out the year bid. And these people would give a bid for what they were going to do without regards to what projects may or may not be on the table. Mr. Steinman, you've been here forever. I don't know if you have any knowledge of this. It was with Pettis and that group. So at any rate, I'm just questioning, instead of just upping wages and upping wages and upping wages, if we need to really look at this and study this more. Is this the best move for the township? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any more comments? Okay, moving on to unfinished business, 7A, Car Park Community Center roof. Mr. Schlegel, appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
If you'd like to go ahead and explain the bids and
well, we put out for bid. We have a leak at the roof at Car Park, and we put out for bid. First, we had it inspected, and the leak wasn't able to be found. So we put it out for bid to have the roof replaced, which was recommended, I believe, in the last inspection a couple of years ago, was to get it replaced within a few years. So when it was put out for bid, we received 2 bids, and I don't have them with me right now, so I don't have the exact numbers. Holt was the higher price, and TJ was the lower price on the total amount underneath that they had outlined. But after adding up some of the extra stuff that they priced per square footage and doing the math with the square footage of the building, the prices weren't as different as what they looked like on the bids.
I think Mr. Graham wanted to say a few things in regards to the bid as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd like to kind of speak to some of the issues that you had discussed.
Well, I'm interested in hearing this, and I talked to Chris before the meeting, and he was indicating that the bids are not they're not exactly apples and apples. They might be apples and oranges, so there's something to keep in mind. Of course, any bid, even if it's the lowest bid, can be rejected. You take the best bid. That's the bid that you take, and apparently the Park Commission chose the Holt bid as being the best bid overall, and that took into account the cost as well as warranty and as well as what was included and how long the warranty was. So the way I look at this is that the Park Committee, I mean, you guys know better than I on what the process is here, but it seems like the Park Commission has bid this out. They themselves, as an elected body, have accepted a bid after considering both of them, and and I think it's good that the Township Board is checking and making sure. But I guess I guess my thinking would be to go with the bid that the Park Commission has already approved, unless there's a good reason not to. So.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. So after adding up the square footage with the extra costs in the lower bid, it seemed to bring the price within a few $1,000s of each other. And the lower bid is only a 2-year warranty without much detail on the warranty, as to where a higher bid is a 20-year non-prorated warranty for labor and material. So we felt that paying a minor amount extra may be worth it in the long run.
Wasn't some of the confusion that both parties didn't bid the same?
Yeah, so we put out for bid for a complete removal of the roof and a complete and completely replacing it with specific specifications. And the one company, the lower bid it as in tearing off just I believe the outer layer of the roofing and leaving the under insulation, and then potentially charging extra per square footage of that underlying material.
So that's part of the reason why you guys went with Holt, because there's questions still to be answered.
Yes.
With the other bid.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments? Okay. I look for a motion.
I'll make a motion, we accept the Park Board Commission's bid for the Holt Roofing Company, and correct me if I make any mistakes here, Chris, but $40,291 quoted for a full roof tear-off. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, sir.
With a friendly amendment to be added, how is it going to be funded?
That is my next question.
Trudy's going to be able to answer that. Okay.
Okay.
Part of the motion will have to be that the funds will come from the assigned park funds, and it will have to go to the Park Commission's Maintenance General Fund, Department 751.
I'll accept that.
Were you second? Do we still need a second?
I'll second.
We still needed a second.
The amendment's fine.
Okay, any more discussion? Chris? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni.
Aye, the motion passed 6-0.
Thank you, Trudy. Everybody.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Okay, item 8B, early voting site. Ms. Hirschberger?
8A.
8A, vouchers for payment. I'm sorry.
I'd like to make a motion that the following vouchers be approved for payment. General Fund, $146,808.80. Fire District Fund, $52,074.63. Police Fund, $255,891.47. Fire Equipment, $34,008.13. Metro Act Fund, $2,000. Downtown Development Authority, $2,669.63. Library Operating Fund, $12,143.17. American Rescue Plan, $214,501.29. Bedford Drive SAD, a credit of $3,661.57. Road Capital Improvement, $7,358.25. DDA Construction, $3,690.15. Building Department, $2,127.65. Sewer O&M Fund, $464,334.93. Trust and Agency Fund, $9,893.26. Special Assessment Debt Service, $3,661.57, for a grand total of $1,207,501.36.
Second.
Okay, motion is supported by Mr. Steiner. Any discussion? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Peroni.
Aye, the motion passed 6-0. Item 8B, early voting site. Ms. Hirschberger?
So with the new election laws coming, I have to have an early voting site. So the site is going to be in Conference Room C for the 9 days of early voting. So I can pick the site, I can set the site, but I need the board to say yes. So I'd like to make a motion that Bedford Township's early voting site be here at the Township Hall in Conference Room C for all early voting, all 9 days, all elections.
Support. Okay, motion is supported, Mr. Bruning. Any more discussion? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Peroni.
Aye, the motion passed 6-0. Item 8C, senior citizen tax penalty waiver resolution. Ms. Hirschberger?
So we do this waiver every year. This is for the senior citizens waiver resolution. Like I said, we do it every year. It's to be able to waive the 3%.
Okay. I look for a motion.
Make a motion to approve the 2023 tax penalty resolution for the senior citizens tax penalty waiver resolution as presented.
Support.
Okay, motion is supported, Mr. Bruning. Any more discussion? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni.
Aye, the motion passed 6-0. Okay, item 8D, Mannequin Smith group fees. Ms. Hirschberger, did you want to start off? Okay.
Yep. So as my memo states, Brad Bryce approached us regarding the fee schedule and requesting to increase the fees. Their hourly rates have been set since 2008. We approved them in 2015, which was the 2012 quote. At this time, I just need the direction from the board members. How do you want to proceed with this? What do we want to do?
I'll add my 2 cents. First of all, we didn't have another engineer for the maintenance building. We have an architect. And second of all, Barry's at the DDA meeting because the guy lives here and is super involved in his community, loves his community, and has always gone above and beyond, not just as the president of Mannequin Smith, but somebody who loves his community. And I could go on and on as to how many times we haven't been charged for things and they just do things because they want to be involved. I can tell you this, there's institutional knowledge, as our legal department has. When we up their fees, we hardly even question it because they bring so much to the table. And that was one of the main reasons we wanted to keep them. They've been around forever. They understand our community. They understand our past. And, you know, so there's a lot to be said for that. I can tell you this, in working over the years with them on projects, I mean, they're second to none with the information they know about roads, our roads. So for me, it's no question, you know, that if they were way out of whack with their pricing, it would be something to say, hey, let's take another look. But I mean, they're low right now, so they're just, you know, bringing it up to probably where it should be, you know. But that's just my opinion.
So my question, they do a great job. I understand that, and I understand there hasn't been a rate hike, it looks like, since 2008, schedule they were using, but I can't blindly approve a rate hike without seeing what the rate hike is. I need numbers. I got to see.
Here's my problem. I didn't want to bring rates to this board and then this board turn around and go, bid it out. That wouldn't be fair to Manikin Smith. They're prepared to give us their rates, but I didn't want to do that to them, and then their rates are out there, and you guys say bid it out, and then
Makes sense.
your rates are all there. If you say, you know what, let's look at the rates, we're not going to bid it out, fine, I'll bring them in, I'll get the rates. But at this time, I didn't think that was fair to them.
I want to see the rates, whether it's fair to them or not. I mean, I'm not going to blindly approve a rate hike without seeing rates.
And I wouldn't mind seeing other quotes from other companies. So I see your point in, like, because it definitely wouldn't be fair to them when they come with rates and then we put a bid out. So I can see that aspect of it. So I wouldn't mind getting quotes from other companies. So I would be fine with putting a bid out to other companies. See what else is out there besides these guys.
Mr. Steiner?
I mean, the difficult part of anything, of course, is just, like you said, approving something without a number in front of us. Mm-hmm. But I wholeheartedly agree that we cannot put rates out there. All somebody has to do is undercut it. And on paper, it may look good that they got undercut, but I do know personally, too, that, and as well as many of you, Barry and some of his team have done a lot of things for free for Bedford Township. You know, Barry is my neighbor now, and I hear a lot of the stuff that guy is doing, whether it's for Bedford, whether it's for another township, other communities, other businesses. I know Barry's not charging everybody for everything he does because he believes in being involved in part of the community. Yes, I'd like to see what those numbers are, but I'm not in favor of just putting it out there and letting everybody else see what their numbers are, so they can just undercut them. Then to come back and what do? You know, we've all gone through bid processes. Somebody undercuts, you get the business, but then here's that little nickel and dime. Oh, well, we got to charge for this. We got to charge for that. I mean, we used to be in the logistics. We used to talk about different companies would come in under bid and said, oh, but these other guys, they're going to charge you for every paper clip they use. They're going to charge you for every pen and pencil and every pad of paper, and they do. So you got to be real careful with stuff like that. Obviously, Manikin Smith has done a tremendous job, and I'll go ahead and answer the question now. Many, many, many years ago, there was Finkbeiner, Pettis, and Strout. Part of that name came up. All the years I've been here, I don't recall any official annual bids going out. Trudy, you were the deputy many years ago. You may recall, but I don't recall any bids going out.
We've only bid the engineers once.
See, because I don't remember anything. So
We did.
That was the one time.
right, but I'm talking about an annual thing with this. You know,
There's certain services where just we don't. You know, I mean, we're happy, they're reasonable, and they do a fantastic job. And our legal department is a perfect example of that. We didn't just say, hey, let's just put it out there for bid and see what we get. We said, no, we want to keep them. We don't want to waste time because we're happy with them. And when you're happy with a consistent company that does a good job, and they're not overcharging, why would you change?
But again, I agree.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
a great company. They do a great job. They have their finger on the pulse of this community. However, we don't approve anything budget-wise without putting a number attached to it. Picnic tables or tables for the car park, they had to have, hey, they're $800 a table or $125 a table. You know, we just approved for a roof and we put the dollar amount in there for a roof, but now you're asking us to blindly approve a rate
No,
hike.
I'm not asking for approval. I'm just asking what this board wants.
what direction
What
she wants
direction?
My direction would be I'd like to see some numbers.
So can they see the numbers? Like if we table it tonight, they come in, they see the numbers, and we put it on the next agenda?
That we're not
I
being
wouldn't put the numbers
transparent
on
to
the
our
agenda then,
constituents.
because what if it goes out for bid? That's
No,
not
I'm
fair to
saying
Manick and
if
Smith.
the board, the members that wanted to see the, I'm just saying, is there a way to do it to where they could see the numbers before they approve it?
I could ask them to, you could either call and talk to them, or I could ask them to email things to the separate board members.
Yeah, but then they're foiable.
Yes, they are.
Why don't we, I don't know. It seems to me due diligence implores us to get bids. If you haven't had bids in 10 years, you get bids, you will see what their rates are. You can still take into consideration, like what Mr. Graham said, you don't have to necessarily take the lowest bidder. If you take that into consideration, you can take all of their history and institutional knowledge and still consider their bid. Then you're going to see their prices and you're going to see
Everybody else.
competitive prices, yes. I would say that unless there's something that I'm not seeing that tells us that that's a bad thing and that's going to hurt us in the end, that there's something I'm not thinking of, that seems prudent to me.
Fine with that. Go for bids.
Let's take a vote.
Todd approved it.
It's done.
I've said everything I need to say. I mean,
And
I'm the
I
one-
did tell
Well, I
them
mean-
that this board could go out for bids, and they understand that. And they understood why I didn't want to put their pricing on the agenda. They understood everything. I just said, I would try and get this board. I can't make the decision on my own, so that's why I'm coming to all of you for something we can agree upon, that we can continue the process, whichever way that is.
okay, I look for a motion.
I'll make a motion that Trudy moves in the direction of putting it out for bid. Let's see what everyone's numbers are at.
Support.
Okay, motion in support of Mr. Montry. Any more discussion? I just was, as far as your bid specs go, are we going to utilize the same specs that we had previous years?
Yes, because I don't have anything else.
'Cause that's
I'm going to use the
pretty
ones from
much the
10
same.
years ago.
Yeah.
I don't have time with everything else I'm doing to go
I
out
don't
and
know that
find
they would
more.
change. I mean, it is kind of is what it is.
Yeah. Everybody's okay with that. That's what I'm going to use.
Fine with that. Anyone?
Okay, we have a motion and support. Good. Can you call the roll?
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 6-0.
And I have a feeling Mr. Frederick will give us some advice at comment time. That's
As he
that's just a feeling.
always-
I got one of those feelings.
Yes, he always does. Okay, moving on to 8F, move funds. Mr. Frederick, you got your 2 minutes. Go on. Okay, 8F, move funds to cover the purchase of the dump truck. Ms. Hirschberger.
Okay.
I am looking for the board to approve moving funds, $116,546 from the general fund balance to Department 265, Buildings and Grounds Capital Outlay. The purchase of the truck was approved in February, so we had a fiscal year go by, so we didn't move the funds into the
Correct.
next fiscal year, so we need to move the funds.
So it was budgeted in 1 year. The truck didn't come to the next year.
Right.
So we would have to move money from the general funds balance that's unassigned to the Building and Grounds Capital Outlay Department 265.
I'll make the motion.
I'll support it.
Okay, motion is supported.
Is that
How
the
about a
motion
motion
with
first?
that?
Motion. I was just going to say, I'll make the motion that we move.
I was waiting for that, Rick.
$116,546 from the general fund balance to department.
Unassigned.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, unassigned.
Unassigned general fund balance to Department 265 Buildings and Grounds capital outlay.
Support.
Okay, motion supported by Mr. Bruning. Any more discussion? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 6-0. Number 9, comments from the public. Comments limited to 2 minutes. Come on up. Here it comes.
I was invited up. I'll answer Mr. Steiner's, Lamar Frederick, 3254 Deer Creek Drive. I'll answer Mr. Steiner's question about the last time we tried this. Was about 1998 when we went out and asked, because Finkbeiner, Pettit, and Strout were moving around, and so we thought this was a perfect time. We even bid out Tom's firm. But when it came back, the analysis is a little difficult. So that's what you're going to be dealing with, is what are they doing here and what are they doing there, and remember institutional memory. And that's why we kept Tom, because he had a history. He was the one that wrote half the ordinances here. So it can be done, but just remember when you get back might be a hodgepodge of things, but it should be done. That way you're transparent to the community that you're making sure that you're getting the best deal for their taxpayer dollars. I also heard a rumor that the CIP is not doing well, or there's something wrong with it. I'm assuming we'll see something in the future about the capital improvements program somewhere down the road. I understand that there's a rumor out there that's not doing the right thing or the wrong thing or something. I don't know. But I thought I'd just bring it up and wait for you guys to tell us what's going on. I just came from Monroe, the Mental Health Authority. I'm trying to work with them to get some people down here on a regular basis, because we have people who need mental health assistance. And since everybody, as Tom would know, Monroe seems to think they're the only ones in the world, and that all things circle around Front Street. And I keep saying, we're 31,000, 33,000 people down here. I think we deserve some attention, some help, because we have folks who need that. Thank you.
For your comments. Any more comments?
Gail Kane, 105.6 West Temperance. Okay, so it was pulled from the agenda. I had a little dissertation here to give on that whole project. There may be wanting some research done on the deed. What the public needs to know is that the Temperance Action Committee is the organization that bought that. They took money out of their own pockets, and they bought that. We cleaned it, and we were allowed to utilize it for a project until the current supervisor put a restraining order against us through the sheriff's department, and that stopped us being able to make use of that project. There's a whole lot of stuff that was not put into the packet, and so I was going to do my best to explain it, and I'm willing to do that. But I would speak to you on a one-to-one. My theory is, and this is what I will be suggesting to the parks, because they're going to be looking at their pocket parks, and they are theirs. You may have their monies, but according to your own policy, they oversee these parks. So I would recommend to them that they sell it, because the guy next door wants it, and he is a problem. I reported an issue there. There was an issue in the past. And so it can be utilized and it can be used. And I was working with the DEQ before we had such a thing as what they call it, as their terms that they use now. So needless to say, it can be used for something, and we fully planned on using it for something. It's just that we were restricted from being able to do what our plan was. And so if you sell it, I certainly would hope that they would consider, because it's an unusual circumstance, giving the money to the Temperance Action Committee.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more comments? Okay, moving on to board members' comments. Mr. Steiner?
We already took a couple moments in memory of Denny's time, and I just want to say that I had the opportunity to work with Denny over the last 20 years when Denny was a township trustee. I know Mr. Graham obviously worked with Denny. Lamar did. Trudy, as back when she was the deputy clerk. So Denny has a great family, and we need to support them at this time. So, again, just keep Denny and his family in your prayers. The other thing I wanted to mention is I got a few emails after a couple meetings ago when I mentioned I was going to be on honor flight. That was supposed to be last Tuesday. I regret to say that I was not able to take that flight due to an urgent situation that came up. So I had to pull myself from that flight. But I've been assured by the Honor Flight Association and the charter company that I will be on the next flight in April of 2024. I look forward to bringing back any information, experience I had, because all I've heard was tremendous things about the Honor Flight. We have a gentleman from Bedford. I was really looking forward to go because there was another Bedford 8 going. It was John Moore. John Moore's been around this community for a long time. He served as well. And I was really looking forward to going with him and his son. I think his son Bob was his chaperone. So if anybody ever gets that chance or opportunity to go be a chaperone, take it. So, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Montre?
Nothing from me.
Mr. Gore?
Nothing for me, except for tomorrow's opening day of deer season. Good luck to all those young hunters out there. Be safe, and hopefully you all get lucky.
Mr. Bruning?
Nothing to add. Everyone have a good weekend. Go Blue. It's already passed, but happy birthday, Marines. Happy Veterans Day. That was the 10th and the 11th, and everyone have a good week. Thanks.
Mr. Sperger?
I would also like to send my condolences to the Simon family. Knew Denny for a long time. Great family. The election ran smooth. The new drop box got a lot of attention, both good and bad. But that's neither here nor there. There are many more changes coming. The legislation has ended, so we will have all the new laws in effect for the presidential primary, which we believe, we're almost 100% sure, will be February 27th now. I would like to thank all my election workers, the chairman, all the workers that I had to call over and over going, no, you're going to this church, no, you're going to that church, no, we have to change you to this precinct. There's a lot of changing. I need election workers, so if you want to see how this process works, come be an election worker. We even pay you. I want to thank all the churches and the library for letting us have precincts there, and for everyone here for tolerating our AV board. Our counting board is here, so thank you for all of that. And everything I do because I have a great staff. I have Nancy, Angie, and Amber, and they are the best. And I couldn't do it without the three of them. I will be bringing more information to the residents regarding the early voting and all the new election laws that are coming. I will be sending out more information and reporting as much as I can at the township board meetings. As far as the CIP, it's not going bad. What we put in our CIP plan, we found out that some of it should be not capital improvement, some of it should be like an asset management rather than a capital improvement. So we're moving those things out so that capital improvement is just capital improvements now. And we had to do a little explaining how capital improvements, you're putting money in for your future. It's more like a future. and you want to keep money in there for approximately 6+ years before you use it. An emergency should not be pulled out of the CIP. You should have an emergency fund, which we do. So I don't know where the rumors came from that something was going bad, but it's actually going very, very well. So that's it.
Well, rumors are always true, usually. I'm not sure what you're referring to if TAC was restricted. I'm not sure what project you're talking about. Have you ever heard of a project in that piece of property we're talking about, they were talking about selling tonight?
Yes.
What project?
They wanted to put a veterans monument there, but the floodplains restricted anything permanent being put in there. It has to be porous.
So it was nothing to do with the
stone
township
or-
restricting them. No, we're not talking to you. You had your public comment. So just, you're entitled to your opinions.
I can only say what I am definite of. And
So, yeah, but the township never restricted TAC from doing their project. Unfortunately, the property sat for 15 years and we've cut it, costing the township money for a worthless piece of property that has no value to this community, other than maybe a neighbor parking on it, or possibly it could be used maybe for a restaurant to have patrons park across the street. But the township's never restricted TAC from doing their project. Bring it forward. If you got a project, bring it forward. And bring the $30,000 TAC has, and we'd be glad to look at your project. But don't sit there and say things that aren't true. You know they're not true. Just be honest, and this board would take you more serious. Burning is an issue. People, you got to burn on the permitted times. It's weekends. It's not during the week, all day long, letting the fires smolder. You have to follow the proper procedures when burning. You can't burn on somebody's property line and that's their fence. You can't burn in the ditches. And you can't burn wet leaves. There's a lot of things. So what's happening is our fire department's getting overwhelmed with all the calls. Because everybody's calling 911 now when people are illegally burning. So please follow the rules when it comes to burning. Or take them to Mulch King. But now the fire department that has 40-something hundred runs a year medically is being called on a pretty regular basis to go to illegal burns. So please follow the rules or don't burn. I want to personally thank Brad Perriott. I'm sad to see that he's leaving. What an amazing guy who served this community well in volunteering for the fire department. And I think he was full time as well, right? It's sad to see him go, but he's done a fabulous job, and hopefully we can replace him with some great people again. But yeah, the property, hopefully we can get some more information on it and either get it sold or put our heads together with what we want to do with it. But having a piece of property that brings no value for us to just keep cutting is not a good idea. We need to move those properties as we have a lot already. They brought up hunting. Keep an eye out for deer. We're getting called for dead deer on a regular basis. I don't think, is the rut quite over? Or is it still in rut? So the bucks are running wild all over, so just especially at night, keep an eye out. They're getting hit, and the township does take care of them. The board a few years ago approved picking up dead deer. We won't pick them up if they're in your backyard or if they're 300 yards in your yard. They have to be within the road right away for us to come pick them up. So don't call us if they're in your field. You're right about mental health. We need some mental health here. There's a lot of individuals that need help. So I appreciate you serving on that board, but we definitely need their presence here. Bedford Boo Bash. I don't know if anybody here had the opportunity to go, but it was a great event for a few hours in Pearl Arbor Green Park with pumpkins and horse and carriage rides, activities, and all the businesses within that area were able to bring to build trunks, and it was a great day. There's probably 1,500 people that showed up. So very well attended, and all the people with food trucks did very well. So the Christmas lights should be on this week. We did have them shut off because the company put them out and turned them on too early, and we got a lot of calls. So we agreed with them, though, too. They were on too early, so we shut them off. They should be going back up this week and left on till, maybe a couple weeks after Christmas. A couple weeks after Christmas. Keep in mind, through the holidays, reach out to some of the local organizations we have. We have a lot of great local organizations. We have the Lions Den. We have the Odd Fellows, the Good Fellows. We have a lot of churches that do food pantries. So if you're a family that likes to give to other families, keep in mind we have the Veterans Center. I know they do a lot of outreaches, and keep some of these local organizations in mind when you're wanting to give this holiday season. And the last is Bedford Blizzard Fest is November 16th from 4 to 9 at Compel Church. Shuttles will be at Northwest Christian Church and the Bedford High School this year because we ran out of parking last year. There'll be a lot of great events happening there, so bring out the family. I'd like to thank our board, Jewel Patton, Al Pryor, myself, and Tasha Harris and Lexi Rapp. They work all year round, and the committee comes together and brings the community a great free event. It's still free after all these years. We raised over $30,000 to make the event happen. So if you're looking to get involved in that in any way or would like to give, reach out to one of those people. But like I said, it's a great event, and they've been doing it for, I think, the 6th year. So other than that, things are going very well. We did get our appraisals. We're getting the other one, the reappraisal back, and we'll be sending that to the road commission. So hopefully we're moving forward on that. But other than that, anybody else have anything to add?
One more thing. Since the property came up again, I wasn't going to read this because you pulled it from the agenda, but I did get a letter from Michelle Shepard, and she also wanted us to know that TAC did pay the $300 for the property. They did have all intentions of using it for their project. They cleaned it out, they weeded it, they brought in a backhoe, they paid lots of money to make that what it looks like today. I don't know a lot about what happened. I do know that we called DEQ or Eagle, one of them at the time, and they said that gravel could be put down, but nothing permanent. They could put a bench, but it couldn't be permanent. So, you don't know if somebody's going to walk away with it or not. But the monument that they wanted to put up was going to be a permanent thing and could not be put there because of the floodplains that would be in. So I do know all that. I can send this letter to all of you when it goes back on or read it at the board member. But I just felt obligated, since it's been talked about so much, to give you Michelle Shepard's.
The reason I brought it up, because Ms. Keene said that the township restricted TAC. Didn't happen. I do remember a bunch of stakes, green stakes, going up on the property for whatever reason. So the board, we had ordinance take them down because they're dangerous to have just metal green stakes sticking all over on the property for no reason. So we did take those down. But there was no restrictions. See, send whatever you have, but don't come up here with poor information. And anybody else have anything they'd like to add? Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned.